closed, unnatural sky, Lake Town shudders. A great bell tolls, not for celebration, but alarm, its echoes shredded by the drag of wings overhead. Wings not of Smaug. On the air, an acrid metallic tang on every tongue, the iron taste of terror. Elsewhere, earth quakes and ancient stones crack. Somewhere, a shadow moves, and the world's heart stutters as all light leans away from a shape newly revealed. If stories like this stir your spirit, lend your hand, click like, join our fellowship, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Where does your journey in Middle-earth begin? Now let us return to that shattering night when legends bled into nightmare. Smoke sheets across the water as men and women, frozen by dread, look up. Bard stands on the pier, bow forgotten by his side, gaze not on Smaug, but on a fissure opening in the clouds. Lightning writhes through a wound in the world. In that splitting instant, a tower appears on dead men's dyke, its windows blazing sick gold. A lidless eye, set higher and crueler than the dragon's, opens, and Lake Town feels its mind lanced. In the east, where Dale leans against ruin's edge, dwarves cling to axes and kin, feeling the mountain's bones shudder. The Arkenstone throbs in its hiding place, calling out with a voice none yet hear. Above the battlements, Thorin Oakenshield feels his name stripped bare, his face reflected in the horror behind the clouds. This is no dragon fire. This is something older waking. North, in the eaves of Mirkwood, the leaves twist, sap running black. Elven eyes, trained to sift starlight from shadow, lose their certainty. Thranduil stands before his hall, sensing the pulse that gnaws through roots and stones, the return of an enemy he once denied. And all across Wilderland, the wild things know. Wolves slink west, crows take flight, even orcs pause, uncertain, tasting an order older than war. Submit. Gandalf the Grey rides hard, wind ripping at his cloak, mind racing with a terrible arithmetic. This was never foreseen, all his careful chess undone. A single word leaps from him as if he might cast it off. Sauron. The enemy, no longer shadowed in rumors or whispered in dark corners, stands revealed, bold, monstrous, and now, it seems, ready to reclaim the world by force. Even in the Shire, frost beads the grass, and to the south, the Brandywine flows slower and darker. No news has reached Hobbiton, yet mothers gather children inside, drawn by a mounting unease. Noses tickling with the scent of coming thunder. Something is wrong with the world's turning. At Dol Guldur, servants of the Dark Tower surge from their hiding, armor slick with new purpose. Prisoners in the dungeons wake to a different kind of fear now, not of slow, consuming decay, but of swift, ravenous conquest. Yet the first scream to shatter the night is not dragons, nor man's, nor elves. It is the world itself. Across Middle-earth, the air tastes of burnt things, like hope, like histories set to ash. In Erebor's deepest hall, Bilbo Baggins collapses against cold stone, clutching the little ring he has so recently acquired. It feels heavier, as if it too greets its true master's return. The news spreads with the fire. Riders dash, not with word of dragon, but proclamation of doom. He has come again. The shadow walks unveiled. Northmen flee. Dwarves seal gates. Elves look to the stars and cannot find their bearings. Why does Sauron reveal himself now? In the tower of Dol Guldur, Sauron watches the world recoil. His gamble is rooted in necessity. The White Council's recent probing pressed him too near exposure. Smaug, though fearsome, is a liability. The ring, disturbed, threatens to slip free altogether. So he peels away secrecy as one would old skin, standing forth in rage. Better to rule with terror sown openly than to be dragged into the light by surprise. So the world shifts, not with rumour, but with thunder. The second darkness dawns not as whisper, but as declaration. In those first hours, men of Laketown flee burning streets, not from dragonfire, Smaug wheels uncertain, banking away from the unclean light, but from fear more absolute. Bard finds his courage kindled and lost again in the same breath. He calls to the people, "Gather, to the boats." His voice is tattered by chaos. Somewhere, children wail. The master, trembling, tries to hoard gold as the city splinters around him. Above, Smaug hovers, his pride affronted. He scents a rival power, and for the first time since waking, doubts his dominion. Gold shifts beneath his claws as he bellows. Who dares claim overlordship here? The echoes reach the mountain, unsettling every living thing. In Mirkwood, Legolas asks his father, "What darkness comes?" Thranduil does not answer, his eyes fixed on the cracks appearing in the sky. "An old shadow," he whispers, "older than my memory. One I hoped never to see rise again." From the west, a storm front moves faster than nature permits, sheeting Rohan's plains with bruise-coloured cloud. Riders on the east road glimpse spectral banners wreathed in fire, far distant but advancing. Some curse the omens, others ready swords. None understand yet how far this shadow will reach. Meanwhile, in the ruins of Dol Guldur, a council of terror. Sauron gathers his captains, ring-wraiths fully unleashed and lesser lieutenants, or chiefs and men ensnared by black oaths. "You will march," Sauron commands, his voice a blade through the dark. "Take the north, break the mountain, let none parley, bend all to my will." One ring-wraith, mouthless yet speaking, suggests caution. The White Council, Sauron's gaze silences even the Nazgul. Let them come. Their reckoning is upon them, yet hope stirs thin as spider silk. In Gandalf's hand, a letter unfinished, the start of a plan never meant for such swift crisis. The wizard seeks Radagast, rides without sleep, desperate for allies who may already be too late. Parallel stories twist together, fate-bound. In Erebor, Thorin faces the bitter irony. The treasure he reclaimed has become the focus of two great appetites, one scaled, one shadowed. The Arkenstone pulses like a wounded heart. Fili and Kili flank their uncle, their courage cracking. "Is it true?" whispers Fili. The shadow returns. Thorin does not reply. He only stares at the gold as old legends uncoil from memory. "We sealed ourselves away once," he murmurs. "Will it save us now?" On the western borders of Mirkwood, elves debate flight, defense, plea for aid. Tauriel speaks up, voice hard. "We have lingered in the woods, thinking the world's wounds distant. Now there is no distance. We must fight, or the darkness will devour all." Her words stir debate. Thranduil hesitates, pride warring with terror. "Fight whom? Fight what?" he counters. "We cannot war alone against the enemy revealed. From Dol Guldur, black banners unfurl. Orc armies roar through the forest edge, slashing trees, driving trolls before them like battering rams. Mirkwood's green collapses beneath dark feet. Elven arrows sing, but the night is thickening. At the edge of the Shire, Farmer Maggot feels earth trampling under unseen weight. Crops wither overnight, and his hounds refuse the fields. No tales of Sauron disturb Hobbiton yet, but unease blankets afternoons, and the gaffer mutters, "The world's gone queer. Mark me, Sam, it bodes no good." Meanwhile, men in Bree bar their doors. Travellers speak in hushed fragments. Ancient enemy, lids of fire, death rising in the east. The prancing ponies' lanterns seem dimmer. Knives are drawn more quickly. The White Council, called in panic, gathers in Rivendell. Elrond, Galadriel, Saruman, each arrives shadowed by war. The council's hall smells of old paper and pine resin, but anxiety thickens the air. Through an open window, the sound of distant thunder. Galadriel stands first. He is revealed. The time for secrecy has passed. Saruman protests. With the enemy unveiled, he forces our hand. But I say we are not yet powerless. Rohan and Gondor will answer, if summoned swiftly. Yet even in that chamber, Saruman's eyes glint with calculation. The spectacle of Sauron's exposure gives him new, forbidden hope. Perhaps the One Ring will surface now, driven by the Dark Lord's need. Power seeks power. Elrond reads the signs. If Sauron marches, not even Mirkwood nor Erebor will stand alone. We must send warning while there is still time to muster resistance. Gondor must know. Across the world, Rohan's mead halls, Gondor's gleaming towers, the Shire's rolling hills, the lonely mountains' haunted depths, news travels on frightened voices. The world's faces turn east, and the great game is joined. At every hearth, at every gate, the question repeats. Can any stand against the Dark Lord returned at the height of his strength? That first night brings the first betrayal. The master of Laketown, promised gold and power, slips word to Sauron's emissaries, betraying his people's defenses. While Bard and the defenders rally, Sauron's black-robed agents slip through the smoke, marking those who would resist. Meanwhile, Smaug circles higher, caught between outrage and fear. Never before has he challenged one who dares rival his supremacy so brazenly. On the wind, a message claws into his mind. Ancient and cruel, even you, O mighty, were shaped by the fire I first lit. Yield, or be consumed. Rage and terror boil within the dragon, but pride, fiercest of all. Smaug dives toward the ground, not at Laketown, but eastward, toward Dol Guldur itself, to challenge this upstart enemy face to face. In Erebor, Bilbo hides in shadow. The ring feels colder, tighter, its song louder now that Sauron's eye is nakedly searching. He senses a growing awareness, a consciousness brushing up against his mind. There you are, little thief. There you are. Panic widens Bilbo's eyes. Beside him, Balin whispers, "Come, Master Baggins, we must move." But Bilbo is rooted, haunted by a sense that any step, any breath will betray him. On the moon-bled plain before the forest, armies converge. Dwarves, elves, men, would-be allies disunited, face not mere orcs, but hosts transformed by Sauron's unleashed will. Trolls armoured in iron, wolves bearing wraiths, banners of despair stitched with the eye. Gandalf arrives, breathless, to the edge of a camp swamped by arguments. If we splinter, he warns, we are lost. Divide, and darkness will swallow us one and all. You speak as if we still have a choice, Thorin replies, his voice dry with exhaustion and fear. The gold is nothing. The stone is nothing. The mountain is nothing but a tomb if enemy passes. Above, the sky is bruised. Violet thunderheads heave. Every breath carries the scent of ozone, and every soldier feels the prickling certainty. Tomorrow brings either victory or annihilation. As dawn breaks, a dawn whose light cannot banish the shadow, the first battle commences at the foot of Erebor. Sword rings against sword. Arrow splits shield. Screams rise like steam. Against Sauron unveiled, the old rules of battle falter. Orcs do not break trolls, do not scatter at pain. At their head, a figure wreathed in black armor, a wraithlord emboldened by his master's presence. In the first charge, Fili falls. His cry echoes up the slopes, and Thorin, seeing his nephew tumble beneath orc blades, is staggered. Kili, wild with grief, slashes forward and is pulled back, blood damp on his hands. Across the field, Bard sees his hope falter as Lake Town's defenders break ranks, panicked by invisible foes, whispers slithering into ears. Flee, despair, all kingdoms fall. Some drop shields and run, and are cut down by the enemy's vanguard. Mirkwood's archers do what they can. Black arrows punch through night, flaming tips sear but cannot stem the tide. Legolas looses shaft after shaft, eyes rimmed red with fatigue, hearing friends scream behind him. Amid the carnage, Gandalf confronts 3 Nazgul, his staff burning with white fire. "Not here! Not today!" he shouts, the earth quake beneath him. For a moment, the shadow recoils. For a moment, the tide begins to turn. Deep below, in Erebor's vault, Bilbo stumbles. The ring pulses, a sonar hum. A voice inside whispers, "Put it on. Become safe. Become invisible." Bilbo's fingers itch. He almost relents. Yet even now, his senses scream, "If I wear it, he will see me." An Orc commander smashes through the corridor, gold clattering. Bilbo presses himself flat. The ring's cold song throbs in his marrow. Fear is everywhere, a taste like tin and old sweat. Quiet as the grave, Bilbo claws forward, deeper into the dark, seeking Thorin, seeking escape, seeking anything but the eye hunting for him. Above, Smaug crashes from the sky, bouncing off invisible walls. He reaches Dol Guldur, its spiked ramparts gleaming. Sauron, in spectral forged form, emerges upon the pinnacle. The 2 enemies, dragon and dread sorcerer, face each other, power writ twice in flame. A titanic clash begins. Smaug uncoils fire, white-hot and ancient, sweeping towers into molten ruin. Sauron answers in darkness. The heat dies where he points, the light shrinks from his outspread hand. They speak not, but wills battle. Smaug's rage, long unchallenged, strains. Sauron's malice, cold as space between worlds, proves deeper. "You are but a relic," Sauron intones, his thought buzzing through the air. The world belongs not to beasts, but to will. Smaug's pride, shattered by pain, gives way. In flame and shadow he reels, crashes down, rips the mountain side, scattering orcs and elves alike as far as the river running. For a heartbeat, it seems he might flee. Sauron does not permit it. Chains of shadow snake from the tower. Smaug screams, a raw cosmic sound. Light dims in the world as the great dragon is bound by Sauron's mastery, compelled, enslaved. The sky churns above. From the battlefield, all see the fell shape of Smaug, wreathed in living darkness, circling now as a slave, not a sovereign. A new escalation. Despair surges. Thorin, witnessing the dragon's subjugation, slumps to his knees. He is lost. "We are all lost," he whispers. Lines waver, allies break. Still, pockets of heroism burn, brief and bright. Bard, battered, rallies the remnants of Lake Town. "Stand!" he cries. "There is no city to run to, only the mountain behind us, and death ahead. Stand, for today we are free men." Legolas, cut on brow and arm, helps lift Tauriel from the dirt. "We fall together, or stand alone." She groans, and he nods, hauling her up. Beside them, elven defenders draw closer, whittled by the tide but unyielding. In Rivendell, the council finally disperses. Elrond sends out swiftest riders. Galadriel turns her mind west, seeking some final aid. Saruman remains, fingers steepled, plotting. "Let the north burn," he muses. "Better the enemy exhausts himself. When all things are ash, perhaps then is my moment." A dangerous seed takes root in Saruman's heart. Not resistance, but ambition. Night falls again. The battlefield sits brittle beneath torchlight. Ash chokes every breath. A deathly silence, unnatural, total, spreads as Sauron himself advances onto the field, halos of black flame curling from his hands. He speaks, and his word is law. Yield, children of Ilúvatar, serve or perish. From among the defenders, an unexpected voice answers. Bilbo, ring in hand, but not upon finger, shuffles forth into light. His voice, soft as the wind, carries further than seems possible. We are small folk, yet even we know some things must never be served. Sauron's eye glances aside, a flicker of surprise. Laughter follows, cold and bottomless. What is one thief to the Lord of all? Gandalf seizes the opening. Staff raised, he calls all light to him, strikes the eye with a bolt, pure and white. For a blinding moment, the shadow recoils. Elves fire, dwarves advance. Men shout, hope briefly alight. Smaug, writhing against his bonds, thrashes the air. Briefly, the chain of shadow slackens. He dreams, for the flash of a second, of burning the source of his pain. A chorus of voices rises. Now! Now! And all that remains of free folk surge against the kneeling dark. For the first, and perhaps final time, the line holds. Sauron falters, but horror follows hope. The earth splits. Trolls pour forth anew. From the air, wraiths descend. Gandalf staggers, spent. Thorin, rallying one last time, takes a blade and charges, roaring, "To me, Durin's sons." His charge cleaves Sauron's vanguard, buying precious time. Yet few follow. Kili, shattered by grief, leaps to shield his uncle. Thorin is struck. Blood slicks golden stones. Kili too is cut down, his final breath a curse hurled at the darkness. Bard, lighting the last great pyre, casts fire into a store of black powder. A thunderous blast shatters the ranks of orc and man alike, rocking the mountain. The defenders regroup around the breach, yet the cost is unspeakable. Smoke and screams mingle. The field runs red, the air forever flavored with spent magic, charred hope. Smaug, half freed, lashes out in pain and spite. Sauron, infuriated by this disobedience, pours his will into the chains. The dragon falls from the sky, body writhing, crashing into Dale's ruins, shattering stone and bone. In his rage, Sauron consumes his slave, and Smaug is no more, burned out of the world, consumed as fuel for greater darkness. News scatters like coals. Rohan, hearing of the dragon's death and the shadow's ascendance, girds itself for war. Yawlings whisper, "Is it our time now?" Gondor, far south, watches darkness coil on the horizon, Denethor measuring distance, reckoning losses that may never be recovered. Rivendell admits refugees, the Hall of Fire now echoing with the weeping of broken lineages. Mirkwood burns, trees toppled, elves slain by the hundreds. Thranduil, wounded in body and pride, withdraws deep into the earth. "Let the world end above," he murmurs to his counselors. "We will endure in silence." Back at Erebor, Bilbo seeks Thorin among corpses, finds him at last, breath rattling. The dwarf king, pride dissolved by grief, clasps Bilbo's hand. "You were right, Master Baggins. You and your foolish hope." Tears muddy Bilbo's cheeks. "I am sorry. I am so sorry." The Arkenstone, fallen from Thorin's pocket, glimmers with unnatural light before dimming utterly. As the days wear on, survivors flee north. The mountain is lost. Lake Town, ruined, disappears beneath a fog that never lifts. Mirkwood shrivels. Orc tribes feast. Their victories orchestrated by black-robed captains. Sauron sits enthroned in Dol Guldur, the world recoiling beneath his gaze. The Nazgul ride openly now, their approach heralded by the shriek of fell beasts and a taste of copper in the air. The council, diminished, plans in secret. Gandalf, weary, proposes, "We must hide what hope remains. The enemy seeks the ring. It cannot fall to him, or all is dust. We need stealth, not armies." Galadriel agrees, her face haunted. "We have failed to save the North. We must not fail the world entire. The Shire, for now, remains untouched." Yet Bilbo, changed forever, returns home. He sits amid gardens gone strangely cold, dreams haunted by the eye that nearly knew him. The ring is tucked away, but its weight never lessens. In time, Sauron's triumph is broadcast across all lands. His banners reach as far as the Brown Lands. Rohan skirmishes at its borders, its white horse banners torn and muddied. Gondor's generals fortify Osgiliath, knowing soon the war will flood south. No land is untouched, no heart unscarred. Ordinary folk survive as best they can. Farmers in Bree plant by moonlight, wary of black riders on the east road. Children learn to hide at a whisper. Dwarves in the Blue Mountains seal their halls and sing old laments in the dark. Even elven refugees, once immortal and proud, huddle close, mourning the sun's fading. Through the seasons, resistance flickers but never catches. For every act of valor, a host of losses. Heroes die unnamed, traitors thrive. Saruman, ever Machiavellian, bides his time, plotting to betray Sauron at the first sign of weakness. But the world senses the coming of an age when all bargains are struck in shadow and all debts paid in blood. There are moments of unlooked-for light. On a winter's dawn, Gandalf guides a caravan of orphans from Dale across the frozen waste, his staff aglow, a silent promise that not every road ends in darkness. In a hidden glade, Legolas and Tauriel grieve, pledging the last remnants of Mirkwood to the hope of healing, no matter how scattered. In Rohan, Eomer, nephew of the king, rallies riders, singing songs forbidden by the enemy. "We ride for the west," they shout, though the hills seem to swallow their cries, and always the ring grows heavier in Bilbo's care. In shadows, the eye searches. The link between master and ring flares ever brighter. Soon, Sauron whispers into the void. "Soon, I will have what is mine." This is an age remade, not by the slow rot of secret corruption, but by swift conquest and the annihilation of hope. Every sunrise is colored by fire on the horizon. Every night, wind howls through the bones of fallen cities. When finally Gandalf and the scattered council determine to send the ring away, the world is smaller, crueler, buried beneath the iron hand of the Dark Lord. Frodo grows up in a shire shrunken by frost and fear, little knowing that his own road, if road there ever is, will be 10 times as perilous. Heroes are fewer now. Sacrifice is greater. The shadow on the world is no longer a rumor, but a wound. In the aftermath, few recall what hope tasted like. Elves, driven westward, speak of Valinor as a half-remembered dream. Dwarves delve deeper, their laments echoing through lifeless stone. Men, stretched thin, barter loyalty for safety or join desperate causes with wild, flickering eyes. The world is changed, every field and forest marked by Sauron's passing. Once, hope grew swiftly as grass. Now it creeps like moss over ruins. Bilbo, old and solitary, keeps his little ring hidden deep in Bag End. Yet some nights, as the wind tosses dead leaves across the door, a thin voice whispers to him, promising that no hiding place is safe forever. Middle-earth stands in uneasy twilight, not quite conquered, not yet free, haunted by memory of light. Above, the eye never blinks, its gaze a wound that will not heal. Somewhere, a child wakes from a nightmare, chilled by a sense that the world itself is holding its breath. waiting for a day when even dreams cannot shelter from the cold. And in that waiting, in the hush and gloom, a single ember glows in the dark, but no one knows if it will spark a fire or simply be stamped out beneath the weight of endless watchful shadow.